Hi guys. All right. Earlier today, I was asked a really good question, and it has a lot to do with someone who's been following my work, who has done the work, and right now, of course, as always, spoke my story into existence. So I felt the need to address it and address it live and address it as quickly as possible. Um, So basically, the question had more to do with rejecting of her being. She said that she was having trouble with an abusive and alcoholic father, and she wanted to teach her daughter self-acceptance, and not to reject and hate these aspects of herself, but she was having trouble struggling between the two. So I want to share what my mother did for me and how important it is. And this is for her. This message is for her. And if it resonates, I'm so glad if it resonates with everybody else. Okay. First and foremost, can I just say that loving yourself means loving every aspect of yourself. Every aspect. Okay. I mean your demons, I mean everything. You cannot hate your mother and your father. You cannot get angry at the people that taught you the things that they need to teach you, okay? In order for you to be the hero, you're gonna have to need villains in your story, and you can't get angry at the villains for playing their role if it meant you became the hero in the process. Can you follow along with that? Okay? That being said, we do not turn a blind eye to abuse. We do not turn a blind eye to not setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is one of the most important things you can ever do. So I will share with you what my mom shared with me. See, I grew up without a father, and I used to think that was a bad thing. But in retrospect, my sisters were screwed up. They were screwed up, because they lived with my father, and my father was an alcoholic, and he did a lot of psychological damage to all of us, but mine was minimal because my exposure to him was minimal. However, my mother always taught me two things. Please never hate your father. And second, don't make it personal, let it go. Now, that took me a long time to assimilate. It took me a long time to get over, but perhaps one of the things that I gained from forgiving my father and from moving past this story and finding value in the fact that he somewhat played a villain in my story was that through that experience, I gained a strength that can't be fucked with. I gained a sort of self-acceptance that can't be fucked with. I really don't care what people think of me or what they don't think of me. I say what it is, I say what I am, and I have no problem with it. I have full-on self-acceptance, okay? In the Gospel of Thomas, it's called stripping yourself naked, okay? When your soul is completely naked and unashamed, completely unashamed of who you are and the circumstances that formed you, that's important. Okay, and if you're still holding grudges, if you're still angry at people for the things and the roles that they played in your life, it's got to stop. Because what's happening right now on the globe is that our collective wounds are coming to the forefront, and it's getting ugly. And until we accept these things, it's going to continue to be this ugly. So I say this because I want to say the value that my father added to me. My father made me a very strong individual. My father made me a person that understands the masculine in ways that most women cannot even come close to understanding. I get it, right? I am most definitely my father's daughter, and it took me a long time to say that with pride, but when I say it with pride, I mean it with pride, you know, and most people can't do that. If you understood how broken my father was, and very few people would be able to forgive the things that he's done to them, and I get it, okay, I get it. However, he was just as broken. He was just as broken when he did it, and I know that I get angry in certain occasions, but I will say this. If it hadn't been for him, I wouldn't be who I am. If it hadn't been for the circumstances that formed me, I wouldn't be who I am. You know, in this moment, I almost have to thank them for the gift of darkness that they gave me, because the gift of darkness held the greatest potential we can ever hope to accumulate. In fact, the door or the next level up in your ascension is dependent upon how well you navigate the darkness. Because see, it's so easy to love the good aspects of yourself. It's so easy to care for yourself. It's relatively easy to work out, eat healthy, care for your hair and nails, and take little bubble baths and meditate and that kind of good thing. That's the easy part, okay? But the hard part is accepting the things that are really hard on you, the wounds. When you have achieved a level of peace that can talk about these things without getting upset, that can appreciate these things, you become a whole different type of woman or man. It really doesn't matter, okay? You become a different type of woman or man, because here's the thing. When you love yourself whole and through the whole darkness, you become the person that everybody wants to marry. You become the person that everybody is like going out of their way to open your doors, you know, won't even let you lift a bag of ice at a convenience store. At a gas station, I swear to God, some bum off the street, excuse me, I didn't mean to call him that, but he was that. He literally was like, no, I'm a real man and I will never let you, queen, hold this bag. I was like, I can hold the bag. He's like, no, never, okay? People open my doors everywhere I go. It is a very different type of level of self-acceptance. It's very different, okay? It's the type of thing that you guys are seeking. When you're seeking your partner, when you're seeking him or her to choose you, what you're seeking is yourself and yourself alone, and you have to have peace over the darkest aspects of yourself, okay? It's no secret. I tell you guys I'm Lilith. I don't hide that, okay? Lilith is God's wife, and if you follow Gnostic scriptures, you would know that she is not the demon that Christianity has made her out to be, and it has nothing to do with morality. It has everything to do with our evolution, and the fact that someone has to hold everything in existence, including the darkest aspects of ourselves, because those darkest aspects of ourselves are what gets transmuted into light. It's what happens, okay? But if you're not at peace with parents, if you're not at peace with the ex, if you're not at peace with these things that hurt you, they continue to animate, because your wounds go on autopilot, and they run on autopilot, and the people keep coming, and they keep showing you what you need to see. And we have two choices here. We can hate them with every fiber of our being and miss the point of the littlest candle in the sun, if you guys are familiar with that story. Miss the point. Or we can choose to have compassion and forgiveness and understand the great gift that the darkness offers. And the darkness in itself, if you understand that these are the wounds that you came to fix in yourself so they can be fixed on the globe, on a global scale, and it really is that serious. Because you are the universe. There's no way around it. You are the universe. So when I hear people say, oh, I'm so disappointed in humanity, what you're saying is, I'm so disappointed in myself and my creation. Because it's your wounds that you're disappointed in. That's what's being reflected outside. However, if you can look at these things with extreme love, compassion, and everything, and accept them, this is a whole different level of existence. It's a whole nother level. This is the self-concept that never gets rejected, that everybody is seeking, everybody gravitates towards. You have to know this. And today I had the opportunity, while sitting in a car listening to other coaches, a few of them, and I never do this, I never listen to other coaches. I was listening to them and I was like, the blind leading the blind, but they were taking baby steps towards the same understanding that I already have. So it's a good thing. However, can I just say that by For example, by persisting and persisting, this is good, but understand you're the only one you need to convince. So you're already working against yourself if you sit there and repeat mindlessly like a parrot to persist for something that already exists, okay? It's the equivalent, I keep saying this, but it's so true. It's the equivalent of having the finish line right behind you. Like you just have to turn around, finish line's right there. And you swim all the way around the lake to get to the finish line when I'm saying, dude, just turn around. The finish line's right there. Your desired state's right there, okay? And I say this because I've explained how 3D is made. I've explained that 3D is both your unwanted and your wanted state. So if you're facing towards your unwanted state, you will know by the way that you are declaring and listening to your mental space that is judging these things that need to be transmuted by you, God. Not your mental headspace, the human, you, God. And God knows it is the intelligence behind the veil. God knows it is all of these things. God can look at these things and transmute them and enter the state. But you have to know the state. And by knowing the state, I mean you have to be fully self-acceptance. Full self-acceptance of this. You have to have this. Without this, you get nowhere. Because more people are going to show up. Your concept's going to be wishy-washy. You're going to have trouble through these things. And it's totally unnecessary because all that you have to do is accept yourself and love yourself unconditionally for this to happen. Now, that being said, the next important part of this equation is not turning a blind eye if someone is abusing you. It is just as important to teach our children that it is not okay to be in a bad marriage. It's just as important to teach our children that it is not okay to have an alcoholic father. You do realize, parents, that if you do not fix this in yourself, the most painful thing that you will experience, and I am speaking from experience, your child will repeat your history, and that's the most painful thing in existence. I swear on my life it hurts. Especially because it's future you attempting to solve your freaking problem again. Okay? It's future you. It's the same soul looking at itself from different angles. So the most important thing you can do right now is set boundaries. Is say, no, baby, it is not okay. This is why I'm sheltering you. And I hope that he's helped, and I'm going to hold him in the highest light. I'm going to hold her in the highest light, but I'm not going to condone the alcoholism. I'm not going to condone the drugs. I'm not going to condone the abuse. This is so important, okay? Because we have injustice wounds, we have abandonment wounds, we have rejection wounds, we have all kinds of wounds, and we also, part of the equation is teaching people how to get out of them. It's important, okay? So self-acceptance means also knowing when to draw the line and when to love someone from afar. If that's what's required, allow them for the room to correct and heal themselves. Hold them in the highest light. Believe in their healing. But do not enable bad behavior. And for the love of God, do not teach children that this is okay. Do not. Okay? Because what happens is they grow up to be the adults that are my clients. And they're wondering why they're not chosen, why they have this problem, what is going on here. I don't understand why this is happening. And the truth is you don't see it because your childhood is still in control. It is so important to look at the things that was given to you in order to transmute and heal them. It is the most important aspect that you can ever master because this is true self-love. It's true self-love. It's the ugly part of self-love. It's the stuff that people don't talk about because I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that getting my nails done every day is self-love. As you can see, mine are not done. Okay? Wasn't so high a priority on my agenda. All right? It's not just that. If it were all roses and candy, I wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a job, you guys. Okay? It's not all roses is candy. It is, however, the most important job you can do when you can accept everything you are and not be angry. Not be angry at your father if they showed you some old aspect of yourself. Not be angry at your mother if they showed you some old aspect of yourself. Because again, these windows into your soul, these mirrors that show you what you need to know about yourself are so, so important. So when you have a boundary, it is not rejecting this or that. Sometimes you need to be the lesson. You need to be the lesson for that person. You need to be the price that they pay. Okay? Karma. You need to be it. And that's okay, because that's done out of love for yourself and for the other human being. Because if we keep enabling an alcoholic, they will continue to be an alcoholic. We keep enabling a drug addict, they will continue to be a drug addict. We keep enabling abuse, they will continue to do this. If we keep enabling putting them first, they will continue to put you second. You gave them permission. In love is love reflected. I say this all the time. It is the most important thing to understand. What you do in here is what you see out there. What you do to yourself all the time is what you will always see out there. And some of these aspects are running on autopilot, and it is important to look at them with compassion. When I tell you guys to do self-inquiry, I had a client and I could tell. I told her to do self-inquiry every day, and I could tell when I checked in with her, she did not. She did it once and gave up. That idea, okay? Self-inquiry is important. It's very important, because if you don't become aware of the inner narrator that is controlling your outer world, you are a slave to that. You must develop the mental muscle to be able to look at what your mind is saying and detach from that. It's important. You need to be able to say, I can redirect this. I can change this. Because, see, what happens isn't going to change. But your mental perception has everything to do with how you view it. And if you're not going to add value to it, you will detract it from every aspect in your life. You will detract it from your career, you will detract it from your wallet, you will detract it from your relationships, and it will continue to detract until you will feel alone instead of the whole universe within you, because you can never be alone. Okay? You have to understand that setting these boundaries, teaching our children what's right and what's wrong, telling them how to love themselves, telling them how to accept themselves, even teaching them that we chose our parents in order to see our wounds because that's our mirror and we didn't understand that to begin with, is important. It took me a long, long time to reach this place, so I'm not going to tell you that it is easy, because it is not. It took me a long time to accept. It took me a long time to say, I get it now. But this knowledge that I have, you see, my father and my mother were gatekeepers to my personal experience, my transcendence, my ability to realize that I'm the constant everywhere. This is true of everybody. However, the reason I am at peace, no matter where I go, hole in the wall, prison, great neighborhood, bad neighborhood, I'm still cool, I'm not gonna complain, I'm good. The reason that is because I have self-acceptance for every experience that formed me. I'm no longer angry. Even my daughter, I can let her go in peace. If she's happy with me, great. If she's not, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna hold her in the highest light, and I'm gonna know that since I did the work on myself, she's gonna come around. And I'm gonna be at peace. I don't have time to be living for everybody else, okay? Not until I get right with myself. So these boundaries are important. They're important. You have to reach peace. One of the tips that I give for developing mental strength is to do 1 5-minute exercise, okay? Every single day of something you don't like. I don't care if it's scrubbing toilets. I don't care if it's cleaning out the fridge. I don't care if it's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't care what it is. If there's something you don't like, do it for 5 minutes every day so that you can develop the mental fortitude that understands and maintains peace while certain things pass through you. It's important. Okay? You can't fall apart on me. And I'm saying this is not easy. This isn't even easy for me. Okay? There are people all over the world being bullied. Their rights are being stripped. I'm trying to remain as calm as possible because I know what happens when I get upset. Okay? I'll tell you. Lemuria, reset, destroyed. Atlantis, reset, destroyed. Okay? So we're not going to do that again. I understand what I did wrong. All right? Not doing that again. However, please understand this. When you have issues that you have not resolved, they will continue to come up over and over and over and over again, and they will leak all over your world. And if you are looking to have peace, if you are looking for people to seek you out, to want to be with you, to always miss you, to just love you, you don't know what that's like until you're there. But believe me, when you're on the receiving end, it becomes the most normal thing. It becomes so normal that you even take it for granted. You take it for granted because that's your normal state. It's your normal state, and that can only happen with your self-acceptance. You want that Prince Charming? You want that guy that we all saw and we all know that's there, and you know who I'm talking about? My best friend who's watching in Boston. If you want that, you have to be at peace with everything that made you. You have to love everything. Everything. Find value in everything. Okay? And that's easier said than done, the darker the wounds. But if these people showed you inside of yourself so that you can wake up and stop upholding these wounds and do something about it, then you owe them a huge debt of gratitude. For those of you who have never heard the story, The Littlest Candle in the Sun, please check it out. I will attach it to my video. We did this. Before we came down, we came to teach ourselves forgiveness lessons. We came to clean up these 5 wounds that are currently destroying our planet. And on an individual level, the more you do for yourself, the more you do for the globe. The more you do for your child, the more you do for your grandchildren. We are here, many of us are here on a mission to break some deep, deep generational curses that have been going for a long time. But those generational curses were formed by us. And each time we failed. We learned, I wouldn't call it a failure. We failed to master the rest of it, so we came back, and we came back, and we came back. But no one but you right now can change these things. Set these boundaries. What my mother did was teach me, please do not hate your father. It's okay, I'll tell you what happened. Don't have animosity for him. He's a good man. She didn't know what he did to me. He's a good man. Okay? She always taught me this. However, the boundaries were set. So thankfully, she was never hit, and I was never taught that it's okay to be hit. I didn't deal with my father destroying everything in his wake when he came home angry and as a drunk. I didn't. Okay? I lucked out in those aspects. But if that had happened to me, I would still have to find value in those experiences. Otherwise, they'd be causing a hole in my wallet, and they'd be causing a hole in every single relationship. When you are at peace with yourself 100%, every single human being that you interact with is 100% peace with you. And it becomes very difficult because there's a lot of people that are interested in being next to you. This is not bragging. This is factual. This is the self-concept that never wants. This is the self-concept that is always dreaming big. Okay? I can't make this up. All right? This is the self-concept that allows themselves to dream. This is the self-concept that is good. This is the self-concept that the universe is just throwing love and attention and kindness and beauty towards it. And as a collective, we have to do this for ourselves individually, and for everything else will just fall into place. But please do not condone bad behavior. Do not feel bad for establishing a boundary. Do not feel bad for saying to someone, hey, listen, you've got to get better. You've clearly got an alcohol problem. You've clearly got a drug problem. Whatever it is, I'm going to allow room for you to heal. But for right now, I need to protect my children and I need to protect myself from this, because I was protected. I was protected, and right now I'm feeling a deep wave of love for my mother that I've never felt before, because I realized what she shielded me from. And that's huge. That's really huge. However, if you don't find peace with the experiences, if you're still angry at daddy, if you're still angry at mommy, if you're still angry at the boyfriend, if you're still angry at the girlfriend, whatever the case may be, brother, sister, aunt, I don't care who played the role that needed to be played in your story, you will not find peace in the world. And you're seeking that. And you are that peace. If in love is love reflected, then the most important thing we can do right now is be that peace. And be okay with setting boundaries. And be okay with teaching our child, listen. So it might be necessary. It might be necessary in this case, because this video is for this person. It may be necessary to say, hey, my wound caused me to choose an alcoholic father for you, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to leave room for him to heal, but baby, I can't condone this behavior and consider that acceptable. I must teach you right now how to love yourself and how not to accept abuse, and that is okay. That's love. You can love people from afar if need be, but what you cannot do is condone these things, because that's called spiritual bypassing, and I don't like it. In the Neville School, you were taught to ignore 3D, yes, to a certain extent, but don't bypass it. You need to be able to look at it and judge differently. Use your discernment, because in the Gospel of Thomas, you are taught you must know what's in front of your face to see what's behind it. So it's not about ignoring 3D. It'll never be about ignoring 3D. I hope this message reaches you guys. I hope you understand why I said it. This is in response to the question that was earlier today. Please stop feeling guilty over establishing your boundaries, because God told you the recipe. You first. You first. Then love your neighbor or love others as you would yourself. That's it. Step 1, step 2. In this order, you now have balance, and you will be on the receiving end of the proper type of love. And let me tell you, I know plenty of kids whose parents stayed together who were miserable, and now they're doing one of two things. They're avoiding marriage, or they're failing at marriage really miserably, because they're repeating the cycles that they learned. Because what we do unconsciously until we wake up is we run on autopilot, and our wounds help us choose partners. If you're ever wondering, why did I choose this person? Why would I choose this person? You're running on autopilot. You're seeking what is familiar to you. So it's one thing to know yourself, and it's another to appreciate the experience, and then the next step is to know what to do First for yourself and then for the other. And sometimes it means letting someone go and letting them grow and giving them the space to evolve. And it does mean choosing you and your well-being. And that is first and foremost, because that's step one. We cannot get the order of operations wrong, because I promise you, if you place them first, they will place you second. It has to be. It's law. It's law. You gave permission. You're the source. You're the first cause. But first cause isn't about blame. It isn't about guilt. That's an ego game. That's not what this is about. Being first cause means owning everything you are and being okay and being at peace. That's what it's going to take, you guys. When you have this, everyone wants you. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Okay? But if that's what you're seeking, please make sure that you do this for yourself. I can't stress this enough. Okay? It's important. And do not beat yourself up for what you didn't know, because here's the thing. We're running on autopilot, remember? We've been running on autopilot for a long time. We are here to wake up, and if someone caused some kind of pain to make us snap out of it, then great. Because otherwise our ego is in control. And when our ego is in control, it has a very limited perception. I'm not making the ego the enemy. Your ego needs to be your personal assistant. It has a very limited perception because it's only aware of what it can see in front of its face, which is very, very limited. So we have to make our ego our personal assistant, not our enemy, and wake up from autopilot. So with that kind of understanding, I hope I leave you guys with this notion not to feel guilty over your boundaries. That's what this talk was about. Please don't feel guilty over your boundaries. Ever. Just ever. Also, add value to your experiences that made you you. It's important. It's super, super, super important. All right. I love you guys. I'm headed out soon, but right now I'm going to go dream big. Love you. Good night. And I will talk to you guys soon.